Hey guys, I'm here to show you my Skolldir build. I'm in a bot game right now, so I can show you the loadout because 2.6 removed the loadout screen. And so I'll just go straight into my build. I get Solar Tree, Piggy Bank, and Boots on drop because the extra solar helps a ton with Skolldir, especially in solo Ks, which is what I do. And the movement speed really helps out a lot when you're trying to throw people, and after your throw, it helps you catch up to them. Real nice. So I'll just show you what I use on the throw and the earthquake. So for the throw, I like to use both the damage upgrades, which is Power Breeze and Gnome, and total they'll do 70 damage burst, which is great considering it's also an initiation. So you just throw someone into your turret, they take 70 damage, and they're getting hit by a turret, and they're stunned. And you can just follow that quickly with a punch, a stun punch, if you have it, and you can pretty much get really early kills and late game kills that way. So for the third upgrade on throw, I would recommend any of these really. Attack speed is great for just following up with a lot of damage after a throw. Cooldown's great for doing throws more often or just poking turrets with your gnome a lot more. Knockback is great if you want to throw people really far, so like if you're in the middle of a map, you could probably throw them to your turret. And slow is great for just preventing people from escaping after you throw them. It helps a ton. So it really depends on who I'm playing against, but any of these upgrades are really great. After I get double damage on throw, I go straight into my earthquake. I get that, and I start off with snare because it really helps with escape and also trapping people so that you can throw them, or after you throw you can trap them and snare them so you can follow up with a lot of damage. It's also very helpful in keeping people away because no one wants to be snared by earthquake. And so keeping in line with trying to snare as many people as possible, I always get increased range on my earthquake. For the third upgrade though, I would either recommend damage over time or height. Usually depends on who I'm playing, but then again I usually want to snare as many people as possible, so I usually get height. Because this way if they jump to avoid your earthquake snare, the height still gets them, and it's quite nice. It also works great against Aylas, Vinian Spikes, Yuris. It really prevents a lot of people from chasing you. Damage is also great because, well, it's just extra damage. For Fist, I usually get health and stun. Stun is like your essential punch upgrade, but health is more situational. I find that I need it a lot, especially when I'm solo K'ing and there isn't a Voltar or a Genji with heals or a Yuri or something. Like 20 HP for every third punch you land is amazingly high. And it really helps with Leons, especially lifesteal ones, if you're trying to compete with them and 1v1 them. Sometimes though, I prefer doing double damage with the stun, and it just hurts a lot and people really don't want to get close to you at all. And occasionally I use range just for a longer stun punch, but I haven't really used it lately. So we'll get into some gameplay and we'll see how I play Skolldir. I'll give some tips and try and narrate what I'm doing along the way. Alright. Hey guys, we're back with some gameplay for Skolldir. As you can see on the drop, I get my piggy bank, my solar tree, throw, and boots. So I usually pick up those, I'm really not sure what they're called, those little bots. The name's escaping me for some reason. But I usually pick up those for the extra solar whenever I can if any of my teammates don't need it. But I probably shouldn't have done that because I really need help now. And I hate using the 50 HP packs if I don't need them. So right here, they've got a lot of range on me, so I'm finding it a little tough to get up close to them. I tend to have difficulties with ravens and gnaws sometimes. Here I throw them because I'm trying to get some early kills on the turret, but it's a no-go. Throwing enemies into turrets is a great way to get kills early on, and it's ideal if you have teammates around. Oh, there's my teammate. Throwing them into turrets really helps your teammates get the kill because turrets are also there. And I can't do that.
Enemy has been killed. Someone's finally paying attention.
So when you throw someone into a turret, you usually want to jump right afterwards to body block them, because people usually jump to escape after being thrown, and it's just a very easy way to get a third punch on them. Here I am not doing so good on getting my throws in, but I'm just going to head back for some HP now. I'm doing really bad with the throws right now. But I am landing my third punch a lot, which is always important. I'm trying to throw from a jump pad and I completely missed. A good way to get people with throws if they already know you're coming is to drop from a top platform, or just use a jump pad and surprise them. Over the course of the game, people tend to realize that you have to be really close to them, or relatively close to them, to make a throw on them. So they'll start avoiding you. Like here, I try to get a little too close, and I almost lost it there. So it's important to try and surprise people with your throws later game. Early game though, usually they aren't really paying attention for some reason, and it's pretty easy to throw them into turrets and body block them. Oh yeah, that is a throw that I land on the jump pad. That happens a lot actually on this map. I tend to throw people into the jump pad by accident a lot on the top. But sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. For Skolldir, throw is possibly the most important thing in his build. Earthquake is kind of more gimmicky, I would say, in a sense. Here I see that Raylan's got way too little HP, so I just body block her and punch her. If you hit her with all 3 punches, it does 50 HP of worth of damage. So it's really easy to kill anyone with under a couple bars. And I don't think I have all my damage upgrades on throw yet, or any damage upgrades on throw, I'm not really sure. But that burst damage really helps a ton, and it definitely scares people. And I missed again. As you saw from that punch, the third punch really does have amazingly long range. Even there. And I missed my throw again. Wow. So these characters are all relatively pretty easy to throw, but if they were any tougher to throw, I would probably be trying to get Earthquake with Snare earlier. Like say if I was playing against the Vinny and Spike, I would probably get Earthquake with Height and Snare on it earlier than I would here. Raylan's also a little tricky if she actually tries to run, but if she tries to actually run away from you, you can't catch up to her, so it's a little problematic. I went up there on the list. So it looks like I have both levels of the 30 damage and one of the gnome. I think here is when I get a kill on this guy. Yeah, it does quite a bit of damage we saw there, that kill. And you can easily body block bigger characters like Clunk. So it really kind of guarantees the kill if you throw him well. And there I use the gnome to poke at the turret for 20 damage. Well, not 20 damage, probably 10 because of the shield on the turret. And here I get my second upgrade on Gnome, which personally after you get both damage upgrades on Throw, my build is kind of set and it can only really get better in my opinion. And I have no idea how that third punch managed to hit him, but because it seemed like he was way out of range. I guess that's kind of just showing how long range that third punch really is. That time rush. I would have been boned there if Clunk hadn't jumped up for some reason. I'm probably gonna get healing on my fist soon, unless I feel like just snaring them that much earlier. So here I kind of start to notice that they're backing away when I get near. So I start thinking I have to kind of surprise them, so I try and drop in from above. Missed it, but I did 20 damage to the turret. So I think I'm gonna try and dive bomb again after. Yep, I'm gonna try and dive bomb again after I pick up some HP, and hopefully it'll work. Yeah, it does work. And somehow she lands on my earthquake just in time, and I kill her. But as you can see from that 70 damage burst, it took down all like 3.5 bars of her HP, just enough for earthquake to kill her. So that 70 damage burst is pretty awesome. And that earthquake right there works out really well. Your third punch goes quite a bit of a ways through the turret, so you can kind of surprise people who are way too close to the front of their turret. And here, oh yeah, 2 of them rage quit, and the game becomes much less interesting. So I might switch to a different gameplay now. Alright, hey guys, we're back with another gameplay for Skolldir. And hopefully this will show you a little more than that last gameplay did, because the other one was a little short. So here I'm just trying to get as much area as possible by showing people how far range my fist is. I don't really know why I do it, but it sort of works. It kind of keeps people away for a bit. And that thing is it's especially effective against like lower HP characters like Halo and well, early game anyway. And like I said before, he's not really good at clearing guards. He doesn't do that much damage that fast to be effective at clearing guards. It's always great to have a Boltar as Skolldir, because you guys can do a lot of good work together.
Someone's finally paying attention.
It's always nice having kills with Skolldir, because he's kind of squishy for sort of tank. I mean, he does have a lot of HP, but he's a little squishy. And here, that was just great timing by that Boltar, which worked out in our favor. I was just trying to get that nod off the turret so I could take out the droids. And Taylor comes in, so I throw her away because I don't want none of that. So on this map, I find the most useful thing to do at Skolldir is to wait in the upper hide spot and just drop on people and toss them, or get the invis and just toss them that way. A Otherwise it's a little hard sometimes. And here I was trying to get a good throw on them, but that didn't really work out so well. Just trying to land that third hit. Something I find about most Skolldirs is that they underestimate the other hits that Skolldir has. The other punches that Skolldir has does a lot of damage already. Combined together, the other two punches do the same damage as third. So I wouldn't knock them. They're usually good to land, but I see a lot of Skolldirs just like ranging and waiting for the third punch to land. Here I just tossed them into the turret, and that penny fox landed way too close, so I just body blocked them both, and it worked out so well with all the burst damage that we had. So with Skolldir, if you have droids attacking your turret, they have shield up, and with your toss, you throw them just out of turret range, so if you body block them, they won't have any HP anymore, like extra HP from being that close to the turret, so you can take them out pretty easily. And I find that pretty good for stopping pushes on your turret. And Ayla's really kind of annoying here. I couldn't seem to throw her, or I didn't want to. I'm not really sure why I didn't. But, oh, okay. That'll do. Ah, I missed my jump. Probably should have had her if I did my second jump in the air, but oh well.
Enemy kill.
The bird didn't go far enough that I could body block him for some reason. I wasn't able to. So as you saw there, Skolldir does a lot of damage, and for some reason the third punch likes to hit people behind the closest things to you. So it's just an interesting punch. And that toss is always good, but she didn't get thrown far enough back. With knockback, she would have definitely gone into the turret, but I usually prefer to either have cooldown or attack speed, so it does more damage more often. This lone star gets really annoying in this game, but it's not too bad. Chasing down this, still third punch. So close to killing this guy. And I almost get pulled into the turret by the star. Missed my throw, but Froggy G's got it back. So with my 800 silver, I'm gonna go back, probably get both damage upgrades. Yeah, both damage upgrades. And then head back in. So that's going to be quite a bit of burst damage surprise for the enemy team. And I'm just going to pick up these guys. And too bad Lone Star got that HP, otherwise we would have taken a lot more damage. Yeah. See that burst damage on Lone Star? It does a shit ton of burst damage on low HP characters, and it pretty much results in a kill if you toss them into a turret, or if you have slow and attack speed. Don't be afraid to use your throw. It's not really wasting it if you're using it on droids that are attacking a turret, so just use them if you're getting pushed a little hard on a turret. And here, I think I'm trying to do a penny fox. And I hideously fail, but I do some damage. So even if you don't land the gnome, you still do a ton of damage with just the throw into the turret. Right there, that was a 70 damage burst on Ayla. And I could have gotten that again, but I don't even know what I was doing. So whenever I'm playing an Ayla, I always pretty much get height and range upgrades, and as you can see, anyone with lower than like 3 bars of HP is gonna be an insta kill from zero. So it's pretty good. And I thought things were gonna go bad here, so I kind of just got the hell out.
36th century.
I have no idea how that even died.
An enemy has been killed. Hardly a challenge.
Skolldir is just hideous at clearing droids. It's just... oh, I got it. But for some reason, I went straight to the...
hardly a challenge.
Gentlemen, let us commence assault.
And that toss
Enemy has
is
been killed.
perfect
Hardly a
into the
challenge.
turrets, combined with Froggy G's dash. So it worked out pretty well for an instant kill on Layla. When you're attacking a turret, it's a good idea to know the droids that are coming so that those droids up front don't take more damage than this turret damage. And you can push turrets for a lot longer. Failed through there. Trying to avoid that. So timing that third punch is really important. If you're gonna hold down the mouse button, like I do sometimes, you have to understand and get used to the timing of that third punch, so that you can kind of time it to when people are gonna run straight into it.
And so it begins.
Now, you can also set up sort of your own timing for the third punch by clicking each shot individually. It's something I haven't really gotten used to yet or figured out perfectly, so I kind of just hold down the left click and go at it and just time it to the way people move with my jumps. His double jump really helps out with the timing of it, and as you can see, I got snare on my earthquake, which helps a ton. Particularly with lonestars, you can snare their bull in place so that it doesn't push you back, and it helps out a ton. And here I was just looking for that lonestar, tossed him the wrong way, but almost had a bit more there. And I was just poking at the turret with my 40 damage gnome, which is always something you need to do if there aren't any, if you don't think your turrets are going to last that long. Just toss him away and that HP disappears real quick. I think I got height on my earthquake, so it doesn't matter if they can jump. That range of the earthquake is pretty impressive, and I find that having both the range upgrade and the height upgrade makes for a really annoying earthquake. As you can see there, his first and second punches are nothing to be laughed at, and they're often forgotten because everyone just tries to avoid the third punch. So people don't really think you can keep damage without that third punch. Or it's really not as noticeable as the third punch. Yeah. I don't know why I just stood there. I probably should have been able to get a kill, but I was more probably wondering my cooldown wasn't doing anything. As you saw there, it was good at stopping that bull from pushing the Voltar all the way into the turret, but not good enough. Do I get the kill on Ava? Nope. I guess she must have gotten it or something. And here I'm starting to think that if the Voltar is going to be done, I should probably get health on the punches, so I can last it out. If that Lone Star had face mudded me right there, it probably would have worked a lot better. And here's something really funny. That rarely ever happens in a game where both your auto attacks kill each other at the same time. I rarely see that. I thought the gnome was gonna get her with that 40 damage, but I guess it wasn't enough. So, you can use the gnome to poke turrets, you can use it with the throw to deal more damage on your throw, or you can use it like I did then, and just throw a gnome at people who are chasing you to try and ward them off. I was kind of expecting her to at least go away, but she didn't, so that happened. And that height on the earthquake is pretty heavy, as you can see there. And here I just get hit, and it just does not go well. If you hear me coughing or sniffling, it's because I'm sick right now. I must have picked something up over the weekend. I haven't dropped in yet. No ghost, no glory. Yep, I get one of the flowers for HP on that third punch, which helps. I'm trying to go for this Foxy, but I think she gets away because I don't want to overpush. And I do have stun on my punch, which helps a lot at preventing people from getting away. Although I don't know if you'll see that. The stun punch is a great thing for following up with, say, a throw. And throw can be used either offensively or defensively, so I think it's like a great all-around skill. Skolldir has so much CC that it's freaking awesome to just pin people down and just rain fists upon them. It's great at defending turrets, especially if there are a bunch of droids, because you basically, when you throw them and they're all piled up at the front of your turret, you just do a 70 damage burst to all the droids and you take off their shield. I missed my throw there somehow, but I think she did, yeah. Sorry about that. And I'm just trying to poke at him with the 40 damage in there. And he just keeps spamming full here, I think, and I just toss that hit away. Trying to catch him with my earthquake. Didn't really catch him until the end for some reason. And I'm just gonna wait up here to try and drop on him and top him. Ah, boy, back to the stream. I'm gonna chuck that Ayla away from my team because not Lone Star, Voltar and I are really low on HP. And I'm going to be heading back for my second upgrade in, I think, HP. Yep. So I'll be getting flowers for the amazing 20 damage per third punch. Putting down this Ayla, and that's probably just more damage on this
I am the 36th 36th
So the important thing to remember with Skolldir is you don't want to overpush because you are very squishy and can die pretty easily, but in a 1v1 fight, you're pretty much gonna win. You toss anyone into a turret, it's very likely that you're gonna get a kill, but it kind of depends on your team as well to help add on the damage. That snare is really amazing on Earthquake. Probably one of the most useful skills. When you kill people, you kind of want to get into the habit of turning around and moving your cursor to behind you so that you can get the kill on people. And I lost the man there. Kind of sucks. I think I'm gonna die here. Okay. How about no? I'm still surprised I didn't die there. Probably should have.
An enemy has been
And
killed.
I think I'm going back here for an upgrade to... Oh, okay. I'm getting 2 of the 170 solar damage upgrades, which are more ideal than the one big upgrade if you're only going to do one of the damages, because it does more damage overall. Instead of a 35 damage punch at max upgrade for your damage, you'll have like a 37 instead. Oh no, Fraps takes the kill. Yep. It's ideal to use your third punch on the health droids. Creeps. There we go, creeps. That's the word for them. It's ideal to use the third punch on the creeps so that way you get 45 HP from the creep instead of 25. Combined with the Voltar, Skolldir is really hard to kill because the main issue with Skolldir is that he's squishy and he needs a lot of HP. But otherwise he's got enough CC to keep people off his back for long periods of time. Trying to save the Voltar there.
An enemy has been killed.
Which sort of works, but it's kind of too. And it's very effective with enemies with low HP. I'm gonna try and push up here while the lonestars is distracted by my teammate WG on the bottom. Wasted a third punch there, but that's fine. Skolldir's not bad at taking down turrets, but he's relatively bad at taking down turrets, I would say. If he doesn't do damage to most droids,
I am
then he does quite a bit.
36th
Little
century
slow too.
Fox.
Nine. This is German. What are they doing in your base?
Think of the gnome as sort of like a temporary 40 damage Yuri mine in most cases, if it doesn't hit anything. And yeah, the snare range is a little longer than the animation shows it to be sometimes, as you saw there, which is kind of cool, a little helpful.
Hardly a challenge.
Kind of catches this penny box. You've got the look good there, and even with all her HP she had there, she wasn't enough to survive the toss and the extra damage she's probably.
An enemy has been killed. Hardly a challenge.
I don't know how that evil eye did not hit me, but that 70 damage burst always helps. So it seems like I get my final damage upgrade on the fists, and I got the cooldown upgrade for more throwing. So that'll just help me throw more often and do a little more fucking damage with that I think here I'm gonna try and get that bottom turret down. Doesn't exactly work to plan. And so the snare is quite helpful at stopping that bull. It's also quite useful against Froggy's dash, because it does stop his dash. So if he's coming straight at you and you have the distance upgrade and the range upgrade on your earthquake, it might even stop him in the air. So it's quite useful. I think here I stay in even though I have relatively low HP. And I think I die. Nope. Not yet. Yep. Going for the throw. Straight to the that throw is always a good finisher as well. And for some reason I really want to go after this penny fox, even though she probably would kill me pretty easily. Like right here. Although the turret doesn't get it. So that 20 extra HP I got from the third fist punch just saved my ass, sort of. I mean, it saved me long enough for me to get that kill. But here, I'm pretty sure my teammates are just going to whittle down the rest of that base, and that'll be match.
Victory! Your team 1 Punkt, enemy
Alright
team
guys, that's
0.
it for my Skolldir guide. Thanks for watching.